What none have achieved, one must seek beyond the shores and towers, and go to the deep to save those from the dormant chaos. Silence can kill, more than words and stones.
You read about one thing, lass. Everyone loves a hero who carries a decapitated head. From what I understand, the Amir people will take up the head and claim it as their own symbol of victory for the King of the Stone Forest and his descendants to come. Well, I know there were... Wait. Did I just hear you go by first name basics? Well, anyways, it is true that the ladybug killed the dragon, but the Amir people will need a legendary figure, a symbol of a brighter future. And what way than their king? That is seen in the leader who did what his predecessors had never accomplished. In time, many people will see that the reaping and the sowers of the hero's unsung work will go over to the leaders, all in the name of glory.
Rise, Teklar Squire of Thalamus. If you were of my land, I would have knighted and lorded you for your bravery and wisdom. Nevertheless, I shall name you and your associates, friends of the Armor people and of the Stone Forest. But before you all return to your nation, I have one last request for you. Since it is proven that neither of you came to the land for the glittering stones, each of you can take as many as you want. If you give me your crown and scepter.
I'm gonna be with the lad and lass on this one, but with all due respect, Your Majesty, we don't have a crown and... Okay.
Of course you possess such things, for it is coated with the powder of Armor's precious stones, and it carries evidence of wisdom within it in your hands. And the staff that you carved to kill and display the beast that plagued my people's lands. These items are more valuable than the crown and the scepter that my grandfather's grandfather possessed and gave to a generous man who gifted all that you see in my halls and throne room.
I'll explain later. In the meantime, we better do as he asks. Lad, will you go help take the dragon's head off of your staff?
After the lad removed the skull, the two Amir guards took it and hung it over the throne. The items were presented, and the king gave a smile as he placed the bowl upside down onto his head, followed by the staff in his hand.
These shall be passed on, generation to generation, as we enter this new age, unchanged.
We stayed for the night, enjoying the Feast of Stone. A night of drink, merry, and laughter. I noticed Vinci smiling as she listened to the music. Something I hadn't seen in a long time.
May I ask for your permission to dance with the apprentice lassie of yours?
Oh, no. She's not my apprentice. But... Oh. I'm sorry, good sir, but it seems that the ladybug just took her and is dancing in your place.
Is it alright then if you dance, Miss Rams?
But of course! Should love to dance with you, good sir. Don't you, Vinci?
Wait, I beg your finest pardon? Okay. Oh, you're a fine dancer.
We're even, Vinci! We're even!
Barnabas, I'm going to murder you.
At least the lad and lass are having a good time. We were given a wagon with our gems and made our way back to Atad the next morning. Along the way, we stopped a good distance from Helen's homestead. I excused myself for a moment with a sack of gems to deliver it to her home, leaving the rest of the party behind.
Don't mind. He'll be back soon. In the meantime... Oh, my back. Since we got plenty of time, I believe I owe you an explanation on the surprise on the, quote-unquote, crown and scepter. Well, many generations and cycles ago, not too far from where the stone forest is between here and there, a beggar man intruded into the territory. The king at the time thought he came to steal the gems as many did in the past after the enforcement of the territories. What's so special about these gems is because they are enforced by essence that is naturally seeped from deep into the hearts of this nation. No one truly knows how or why, for many scholars are actually working on figuring that out. Anyways, this man, in his eyes, were filled with honesty and pleading as he explained over to the king that he was stumbling in the pitch black dark of the night during a storm, after he was cast out of the frontier town he was originated from. Well, the king took pity on him and saw the staff and bowl that the beggar possessed. Seeing that it was the only worldly possession he had, His Royal Highness at the time, from what I understand, who is just about as short as his great, well, too many times great whoever, offered up a trade. As many stones as he wanted for the crown and scepter in exchange. And in overnight, without any more questions asked, the beggar man became one of the richest men in all of the area. The generous man that the king mentioned was... he was actually not a beggar. On the contrary, he was actually one of the richest men in the area and was practically the czar of all the entire frontier town. And when he saw that the beggar man returned a really rich man, he decided to find out more information about him. So one day, he invited him over to his house, had a cup of tea and such, and the beggar man, without hesitation, explained the story of how he got his riches. After hearing the story, the rich man figured that he would use the king's generosity for financial gain. So he loaded all his possessions from his home and purchased more after selling all his lands and his mansion. He went to the stone forest and requested audience with the king. Everything. In which, fun fact, all the furniture, drapings, tapestries, all that you've seen in the throne room, they were actually, I believe from what I understand, came from that same rich man. And when the king saw of how grand and rich everything was, he then told the rich man, saying that he would give him the greatest gift of all after all the generosity and such. And when the rich man thought he was going to get the gems and such, instead, the king gave him his crown and scepter, which, aka, the beggar's bowl and staff. When seeing that he was practically swindled by fate and dramatic irony, he returned to that same town the next day, and then he ended up becoming the beggar. But that was not the end of the story, or so that I've been told. For the rich man who was formerly a beggar saw this man right in the street, and hearing that he did not eat for a few days, decided to take the man in and hired him into his house as a financial advisor and become one of his most trusted staff members. And even after his passing, Obadiah Bardock became a name and legend throughout all the land for helping forming the towns and cities right around Atad, and even helped form a storage system for all the stewards. Obadiah Bardock is Lord Bardock's great-great-grandfather. A man from a family of merciful and humble foundations. I believe they have the original staff and bowl displayed in their manor somewhere.
Yes, I just need to get my head to stop pounding from the lid that was thrown at me.
For a sick woman, Primrose is a strong one. Fair point. Her husband did die from the stone fever after facing the mountain troll. But in the end, people just need something to be angry at, to justify and render their own pain. Sounds selfish, I know, but couldn't be far from the truth.
I'll be fine, lad. I just got a pretty thick skull. Or so Lily keeps telling me. Oh, she's my bride. She's back at Atad, working in the library. Maker, I miss her. I miss that woman. Right. Let's get these back to Atad for cataloguing.
Well, my lad, since we were on an assigned mission, we were given these gems. I mean, we generally cannot accept such gifts or any form of payment, so we get a commission from these stones once they are checked in for surveillance, enchantments, and that are cataloged. Maybe, Lassie. It depends on what type they are and what they can use to be for you and the council. Most of it will be in a credit account anyways under your name, when the time is right.
Technically, I joined this mission as a private citizen, since I was rewarded as such. It is my objection to use this newly established wealth to give to the widow financial relief, perhaps giving her daughters a foundation for future marriage offerings.
Born of ash and bone, his people atone from the land beyond their woes. His kin and him hunt in the dim, to fight a sap without a map, to be as lost to what one would only do, one ask simply to oversee the dark deeds that Sergious sees. Well, it's a common folk song that children often sing in order to behave themselves. You've never heard of this before? Shelter type. Well, this was written long before your time.
How old am I? I'm extremely old, shall we say. Luckily, my sister didn't interfere or take the full possession of Gion years ago. Yes, she... Gion the Tainted always meddles with forces she could not leave well enough alone.
Sergious, you always have to make a grand entrance.
Of course, Victoria. Lover of one
Your
who...
game of riddles in the dark have not grown greatly, sir. If you want to tell your story, say it and be done with it.
Nice to know that my side of the story won't be judged based on words written without knowledge. Well, my dear, beautiful, clever lass, over the ages, even after the great four symbols were spoken by the Maker, humans were destined to have a direction that was right in front of them, but they'd chosen not to. Hate him? I do not hate him, nor do I desire him, my lad. Even the fallen ones believe him, and they trembled at the mention of his name. As I was saying, the stewards were, and still are, too observed to tell the whole story. The story of how the Tainted One managed to wound my sister by taking a part of her essence that ended up mooning her right eye. Tiam always wanted to rid evidence of her father from her face anyway. So my sister gave the tainted half of what she wanted. One cloudy gray eye over a thirsty forest. Very fitting for her. As for me, I was forced to sign a treaty. Oh, by blood of survey. To serve her. And now, to scamp on her shadows. Does it matter? The tainted, the stewards, the followers, all in exchange for... all in exchange for... preserving my life. I am laughing at the irony of the fact that the Tainted One forced me to serve with all those promised fools who could have supplemented many of those within and outside of the stewards. They couldn't have had the chance to spread the ways of the Maker for all of Nyarv's well-being. And yet, the definition of self-righteous according to them are shaded in many forms of the grey bones. They rather take the perfect direction of standards than an individual worthy of it over the strays that are in their self-inflicted muckhole. That is a stupid objection for the stewards and new generations to follow and witness as time allows them another cycle. To see the stewards discarded those who emerged from the tunnel. To seek help only to be turned aside. They planted the seeds of contentment in their hearts, yet take them away, and requirements aren't met, failing to give full communication to lost ones. But nothing new is under the sun, as well as the steward's lack of proper observations, followed by actions to have a better understanding of things in ever-changing in this world. No one than a parent telling a mature child only productive matters and nothing else that would cause the child to seek answers that would lure them either to a lair of foxes or an empty fulfillment of promises.
Skip over the lamenting Semitics and give us your reasons.
Certainly. Forgive my good manners. After the tainted one made our deal, the stewards cast her out. And for what? For challenging those cowards to learn things from the tunnel. They claimed that it would lead to prejudice, resulting in the possible advent of a civil war of ideals and territories. This was fulfilled in the case of the Amir. They were forced to live in the stone forest, away from the lands that were rightfully theirs. Oh, they were promised a fruitful life from those of the congressional congregation of the stewards. Promises you cannot keep are no better than the lies and fairy tale stories, my dear. Why do you stay then? You see, my dearest lass, I am bound by the bargain of the treaty. Darion and I had to learn. We learned to do more than just seek answers, even if it means watching all people's associations and ideals die due to the lack of wisdom, all in the name of self-preservation, of one's self-righteousness.
Lass, reach into my bag and pull out something that will quench the hunger of the council that is overwhelmed. Thank you. Here, from the scribe who saw a creature of nightmares. Even its author couldn't be described.
The illustration that one sees of this creature of nightmares. Such a satisfying perspective. A pleasure as always, old friend.
What happened? No, I
Nah, you didn't miss much. That's because it is nothing, lad. Talk is just cheap noise. The real question is, what kind of noise would be so harmonious enough for people to accept and adapt to?
Sergious may be many things, lass, but even individuals like him raise questions for any who wish to face the facts.
And people wonder why the youth of this generation are resentful towards challenges. They were never pushed and challenged enough to the point of having calloused mindsets. Even when the challenges are in front of them, they never fought for anything worthy for such principles. The current problem with what's going on is that we allow our youth to glean essence that is clear, obvious, not of this world. For their future, all of Nyarb is dependent upon youth like you, whose expectations are on faltered and weakened foundations. There will come a day when an individual will be cornered and knowledge will be out of their grasp, and they'll never have to rely on sheer dumb luck that is non-existent to survive. All to the fact that society never pushed them to accept the knowledge or go out and learn from the harshness of the headmistress known as reality.
She indeed had experience, lad. Fortunately, Lord Rogers broke her of that mindset. You'll have to ask the raccoon, not my story.
Are you the healer or the carver?
Either or none is dependent on one who holds the tool that either one or another can save or take.
Welcome back, Dr. Newcastle. At ease, soldiers. I assume you are informed of the situation at hand?
Only in need of assistance, Knight Commander. Miss Rams was careful not to allow other ears to compromise the private affairs of the council.
Being in hostile territory and being with individuals with questionable integrity, one can't be too careful.
You do know I'm present, right?
You and Miss Rams are coming with me for a follow-up meeting with Lord Bardock and Lady Lupin.
What about them?
I am to take both of them to Lord Rogers's office, where Lord Darion and I will compare notes and testimonies to confirm the records that Lord Hindrus has collected.
What, has he...
Vinci, now is not the time to make speculations of your feelings towards an emissary.
Fine. Let's not keep Lord Bardock waiting.
Knight Captain.
Yes, sir.
Lord Darion should be at Rogers' office by now. Report back to me with a full report. You men, take the wagon and send it to the North Wing.
Rogers has been ecstatic about seeing how well the messenger bag has worked for the mission. We managed to take the dust you sent and kept 3/4 of it in the vaults. The rest is in Rogers's possession to conduct experiments. To prove his hypothesis by conducting experiments on how the gems have a strong connection with the essence as a living natural organism that's connected beyond the tunnel. And to answer the inevitable question, each of your gems will be in the credit units as part of your commission. Once they are cleared, of course. She's going to be fine. Mostly. It's a protocol for a steward to have a follow-up meeting after a mission. Shh. Listen. 3, 2, 1. Open it, lass. Open.
Thank the Maker you're here, my prince. Lord Rogers and I were observing the dust that your lot had sent, and we wanted to see if we can turn natural mineral-made statues into organic life forms. We tried 3 of them around the Citadel, to no avail. It wasn't until 5 minutes ago Rogers placed the remaining batch on a pile of books. I didn't see it as I bumped into it, and it poured all over what I assumed was a garden ornament that he collected.
You promised not to hurt me, pretty maid.
Hurt you? Now why would we do that?
There are men with swords and claws now just as sharp.
I promise you, lad, we won't hurt you. Those are the Stardust cookies that Mrs. made for y'all. I promise, none were eaten.
I smell starlight. It's been so long. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a day and a half since I had something. I last ate something.
A day? Who exactly are you?
I'm called Gigi. I'm the result of an experiment gone horribly wrong. By the ones who wanted to see a jackalope become one who can produce wings like a bat and be able to withdraw anything from the bloodstream. I wasn't supposed to be this way. I ran away when the Tainted One came after me. When she killed my... She turned...
We need to get him to the infirmary, now! Lass, carry him. Lad, run ahead and tell Madame Robin what happened. Hurry!
This is not going to be easy to write a report about.
Vinci and I walked with the Knight Commander and Lord Bardock to the infirmary as soon as we heard about the strange creature. When we reached the entry doors, Lord Darion, Rogers, and the 2 novices were in a stressful conversation with Prince Owen and Madame Robin, the head lamp wielder. We found that the jackalope-like creature had a set of bat wings and a set of fangs in place of buck teeth, causing all to be apprehensive.
What in the void's depths below is going on, Knight Captain?
We are still trying to answer that for ourselves, sir.
Do you think that could be a threat?
My office thinks so. I've never witnessed a creature small and powerful enough to pull down an entire oak shelf in an attempt to distract us from capturing him.
Before Tiam's time, there were creatures of the tunnel, where they were taken to become fully Nyarbian.
Fewer lectures, Dr. Newcastle. Your assistance is greatly desired in this alien matter.
It is part of the protocol to scan the creature's memories and essence for...
And you won't get any precious evidence for your zealous suspicions if he is dead. Unless you want to take his essence once he crosses to create a sensuous two-cream again.
How dare you assume that of us?
Sir, hear her out.
If I recall correctly, lamp wielders do get first dibs.
This is not your concern, miss.
Miss Rams is right. Allow the lamp wielders to attend the poor wretched creature, Knight Commander. Once Madame Robin has him in stable condition, then you shall discuss the terms of interrogations with it.
Thank you, Lord Bardock. However, I do require Dr. Newcastle's services for only the need to identify the poor creature. Please inform Lady Lupin of the delay.
That I shall.
I never expected you to grow scales like Lord Hindrus, Miss Rams. Yet that didn't give you the right to dance on affairs that are not of your jurisdiction.
I wasn't even on the clock. I'm just a citizen who happened to recall the laws of the land to prevent any discord at all. Figure you need a refresher, unless you missed the part when you were, 5 years ago when you were...
May God preserve me.
I'm not some simpleton that could fool us, you fox with no teeth.
That's enough. We have much more pressing matters to contend with. We all just need to gather what we know until Madame Robin and Dr. Newcastle return to aid in Lamar Lupin's recovery.
By the time we got to the wing, Madame Robin denied the Knight Captain's request for an orb examination before the Gigi creature was to be admitted.
I was following the protocol the commander gave me since you and Lord Darion started experimenting with the ground gems. Anything that moves or comes to life as a result of the essence must be examined and documented for the Knight Commander-in-Chief.
To see if any of the creations or supposed stone beings may pose a threat to.
And this coming from the man who thinks blue flowers would be the downfall of society at weddings. No wonder you're not spoken for, Knight Commander.
Things like the ones that created the monster that you were ordered to kill not worth being cautious of. Aren't the bizarre contracts that you associated with?
Wait. You read my messages?
Oh boy.
You know as well as I do that's a violation of privacy to look into my messages without consent.
Not when it involves essence request messages. To provide for a hunter and his lover.
Okay. One, those kind of messages I would deny in a heartbeat. I can't give an answer because no terms were given and you know it. And two, you should know, Knight Commander, that I usually have a response that gives a I won't reply until further notice enchantment that Dr. Newcastle himself inserted. Search my mind if you must, but I will no longer tolerate this invasion.
Just being the gatekeeper, Mrs. Rams.
Very cryptic one at that.
I'm surrounded by overgrown younglings. Miss Rams, Commander, the matters of overseeing who and what are currently not centered around these squabbles. As much as you want to paint us as antagonists, Victoria, this decision was for your good.
For my good?
What hope and use is there for this jackalope creature?
She does have a point. If he was turned to stone years ago, he may know of some information about his creator, the Tainted One, and other matters that may help Lamar Lupin.
How?
The creature claimed that he was not what he currently is, that he wasn't born looking like that.
Indeed, lad. This creature seemed to be the formality of my homeland. But it isn't.
Part of Barnabas's abilities is to be able to identify the glance energy and compare it to the registered wielders with similar gland prints. This helps narrow down the suspect list.
those that are not of Nyarb would either be observed in quarantine by in-field stewards or be taken to the closest library in the country they were captured, if they seemed like a threat. Not necessary, lass. It is no more than immigrants from another country coming to a new world. Nevertheless, we must be the gatekeepers of this land, and not cripple our nations with unwanted disasters. Like the coma, yes.
Even before the coma, the consistent battle of control of the immigrants of all that the tunnel has allowed passage has always been a political issue. An issue for all nations, and how they ought to handle the refugees regardless of their species.
If no other nation wants any of them, they would go to the Stone Forest, where they're well accepted into open communities, and, well, they gotten so big, they may as well be their own nation at this point.
The Stone Forest may have their own king, but the other nations have yet to declare it or accept it as an independent nation.
Because the Stone Forest borders both Thalamus and Corinth. In order for the territory to become an independent new country, both nations would have to renounce ownership of the amount of acreage of each respectable territory they own, that the Stone Forest resides. Thalamus will still cling on to every mile of land, and Corinth already has enough problems within its borders, with a crippled economy, along with the panic of the sudden disappearance of Princess Inez contributing to the problem. That nation wouldn't bat an eye in order to keep its people from losing further hope and trust in their monarch.
King Joab fears a revolution could be possible against his parliament. So he obliged and only requested the help of other nations' stewards to help him find the heir to the Corinth throne.
Not to mention that Thalamus is preoccupied with the crippling fear of Prince Lawrence's presentiment once King Amir keels over dead.
The king, my father, is on an undecided stance that has been unchanged since the death of my mother. Lawrence wants full claim of the Stone Forest as Thalamian land, disregarding the Amir people.
This would likely lead to a turf war against the kingdoms, unless the Stone Forest either surrenders or is declared an independent nation.
Do you think that...
Enter.
Excuse the interruption, my lords, but Lady Lupin and Dr. Newcastle wished for me to escort you to Lamar Lupin's chamber.
He's no longer in the infirmary.
No, my lord. Dr. Newcastle has done all the recovery of his speech. Master Lupin screamed and shouted things that caused the doctor to put him into a deep sleep. We took him to his private chamber so he can be what do you call it? Where he could be safe for him. We had to summon 2 of your guards to assure his safety, Knight Commander.
What? Huh. I'll have to see this letter.
Well, I guess Ow! What?
Thank you, miss. Lead the way, please.
The creature? Oh, yes. He's resting now, my lady. Has some hibernation sickness, but not stonera. Thank the Maker. Dr. Newcastle informed?
We shall take it from here. And again, my blessing on you, miss. You are dismissed.
Of course, my lord.
So, Lord Bardock, if I may, when we...
Vinci, just keep low and follow.
I'll be old and worn by the time we get... Let's go.
Lamar Lupin's case was the worst I've seen in my lifetime. I explained to all that the essence used on him was in an overly stimulative amount. Before I could identify the wielders of such, I wanted all, especially Lady Lupin, to hear and to listen to all that the victim had to say. We walked into his chamber to find Lamar sitting upright in his bed, fiddling with the fingers of his human left hand. His mouth quivered with the rise and fall of many emotions he was forced to keep at bay. His body shook as his dull and tired eyes stared toward the window that led to a balcony. 2 Tekla guards stood at each side of the door.
Master Lupin, it's good to see you well again. How do you feel? Can you tell us who did this to you? Can you even...
He can speak, sir. This just takes time for... The enchantment has blocked his abilities, and it took a toll on him.
It was so quiet. I couldn't feel, see, or detect anything. That's when I knew that we were found out.
Miss Rams, wait.
Sir, please. Let her be.
Lamar, what did you remember?
I was having a fine meal. All 3 of us were after a hard day's work. Then, all of a sudden, there was singing. A beautiful song sung by a woman we knew and were beckoned to follow. But when we got to the garden, it expanded, and we got separated, and he got them.
Who?
I don't know his name, but he took us to a dark chamber so he could...
What's wrong with him?
He's in conflict with the triad instincts. Being between animal, bird, and human forms of instincts can be overwhelming to even a singular species.
When I was in the maze, looking for Luca when he screamed for help, I got caught. I fell through the ground, and it became very dark. This woman held me down, pinned me down with a look that... I fought, knowing that we were compromised, and I needed to escape. But when I got her off me, this man, she cast... I tried to fly away, but the spell... He took my humanity! I'm not what I'm supposed to be! I ran! I flew and ran! I ran and left them behind! I left, and now they're... I think I can describe them to you, lass.
I'll get some paper and... Oh, never mind. Seems like that magic bag of yours really works, Lord Rogers.
What? You placed art tools in the position where a fugitive
Papers
would...
and pencils are multi-purpose tools, Knight Commander. The bag has a consciousness, and it knows that it only gives items that are needed at the pressing time.
I beg to differ.
I'll send for an...
Now would be the ideal time before Lamar's humanity becomes dormant, Vicini.
The lad has a point. How do we know that this isn't a means for Mrs. Rams to create and unleash a monster or a duplicate of the once?
Whoa, wait, just a clock tick. I can turn several things from paper to organics, but never people. Even without my brush, it'll take a divine essence and the core of the maker himself for me to make a human.
We do have an artist present, and if she attacks, we have 3 Teklars that won't hesitate to strike, if needed.
It's still
the only option we have.
Fine. For now, I'll allow it.
If any harm comes from this, Miss Rams...
Noted, Lady Lupin. Lamar, my name is Gigi Rams, and I'm an Artisan Steward. I'm going to help you, but I need your help too. I need you to describe me the physical traits of these individuals or whoever it is that captured you to the best of your ability. So, take your time.
Okay.
This man you said, what did he look like?
This man seemed to be in his early 40s, I guess. Tall, dark hair, dark eyes, and he has a deep set of scars on his left cheek. He had a calm and commanding presence to him. He had standards that seemed very specific. He asked all of us, Lupin, Kyle, and I, if we each could read or write. Knowing that he's a wielder, we lied, claiming we were too poor to receive such education. So he took us to his castle.
Where's this castle at?
Northern Corinth, off the coast. It was modest looking, with a large row of stables and a large housing area where he kept some of... I never knew I was feeding the prisoners.
It's okay. You didn't know. You mentioned there was a woman. Was she the one who sang the song? Was there anyone else?
No. I mean, yes, there was a woman. 2 women, actually. I don't know. The one who sang had the most beautiful voice. The one I fought and injured, I couldn't see, but she seemed young, yet old all at once. I couldn't tell, but I remember feeling and seeing the blonde hair over my face. Hide.
Lamar? Are you...
The paper! Give me the paper!
But I'm not quite...
Do it!
Okay. Here.
Maker above! It's a memory! Look at this. It looks like a library of sorts. But whose?
Not any I recognize.
What the... By the Maker. We've seen the 2 in the dragon's memory.
Be silent, or I will silence you if needed. Then again, I love it when a steward begs, just as they made me beg.
Sister, let's not toy with our test subject.
But where's the fun in interrogations, Andras? The last 2 weren't as fun as fighting back before turning them into...
What did you do to them? What did you do to them?
Claimed them as permanent slaves. Or should I say, Soldiers, if all falls into place.
Please. This one seems more of a dove quality over being a cavalry mount.
He does have a powerful gland. Turn him into a dove. That'll be perfect for the essence needed for the ritual.
No! Please! No!
Get down! Sister!
He saw. He knows.
Oh, sweet mother of the Lamar! Hold on! No!
No! No! You will not take me! No! No! No!
Lamar, it's all right. Shh. You're home. You're safe.
It's my fault! It's my fault! Why did I run? How could I?
I'm sorry it took me so long.
How fair is Lamar?
He's resting now. Dr. Newcastle is watching over him. He just sent a message to his wife Lily for extra help.
What Lamar did back there was a penance fest. A form of a memory preservative to give testimony to...
It seemed more like you were drawing essence coming from your hand from what I saw.
Just because I drew something doesn't mean I can wield it, sir. Besides, I require my brush for anything to come to life. Even Lord Rogers said it was a simple pencil sketch. Here. This is a duplicate of the map of the Stone Forest, right here from the Mountain Troll's den. The squire here, by Prince Owen, mind you, witnessed me drawing it. No magic. None. Ain't that right, lad?
That still doesn't explain what we saw from the drawing pens. Marker knows what that is.
That was a fight or flight essence wielding that allowed a visual testimony when spoken words weren't an option. And no, it had nothing to do with just Vicini. It applies to all that can wield.
The sketch must have triggered the memory as a signal for the essence. Its release is to assure the wielder that there is no threat of anything that may hurt them. It also assures the steward in charge that the security of the memory is safe, even in a life-threatening situation. Maybe, lassie. At least, in definition, it can be life-threatening in the case of having animal parts formed based off of whatever essence was wielded upon him. Lamar must have held on to those memories to the best of his ability before losing his humanity, if by chance.
You're right, lass. And if my assumptions are correct, his sister is involved as well.
Andras the Condemned and his delightful sister.
Takes one to know one.
What was that?
Nothing.
In case no one noticed, Andras the Condemned was supposed to have been drained long ago.
He must have used some raw tranquium to maintain his power, but only in a limited transfiguration act.
Let me guess, lassie. You don't know about the infamous snapped siblings.
Considering how ill Abnon was over the half a decade he endured, it is no surprise that he neglected to tell his apprentices of those two.
I thought I smelled a rat.
As an emissary of the Thalamin royal family to the stewards, I have to know what has happened in connection to other countries for heightened information they need. True, my pretty little steward. We don't know if Princess Ennis is in the Andras, the condemned's grasp. Still, any information could be useful for a stronger alliance depending on who needs what for their benefit.
You make it sound as if you were planning for war.
All fundamental rules of the game of democracy. And you assume that I always seek strife when I'm only plotting preparation for the possibilities we may confront. We need this information sent to our king, request a warrant to send stewards to retrieve our own, and see if Corinth's princess is being held hostage.
Because Andras the Condemned may wield powers that could erase armies, with the Corinth military being vulnerable after the effects of the coma sickness, claiming 8/10 of its soldiers.
The presence of an army would trigger possible harm to the princess if the siblings are concerned.
I highly doubt they would inflict harm on her, Knight Commander. Whatever decisions that King Joab makes are carefully analyzed by not just the siblings, but all the kingdoms. If the military is focused on one pair of dangerous wielders, other lands might invade as an opportunity knocks. Ties are already fragile enough for all nations after the defeat of the tyrant overlords.
If Andras' strategies haven't changed after 20 years of exile, he'll take hold of the kingdom's thrones from the inside out while they rip each other apart.
Yes, but yet no, lad. There were conspiracies and radical viewpoints in the past that challenged the power of the congregational steward leaders. They claimed that the leadership was weakened due to the disregarding of the new identifiable essence and the immigrants of the tunnel that entered into Nyarb. Many of them challenged and demanded proper citizenship and wanted to know more of the ways of the Maker, yet sadly, to be the Void's Father Below's advocate, there were some that did some actions that may have caused the leaders of the time to question a lot of what those of the tunnel are capable of, henceforth why they seemed rather closed. That still continues on to this day. Hey, what?
Andras and Anya's tools were snapped after Lord Bardock and King Axon of Sergious fought them. Before both siblings could be taken, Anya turned into a dragon and Andras windowed both of them far away. But before they escaped, Anya the Pursuer took the 16-year-old king's arm and held it with her dragon's teeth like she was holding a trophy. We don't know. But I suspect his Fey lineage in his blood has something to do with maintaining their power currently.
If our assumptions are true, we need to return to the last location Lamar was at, find where the castle manor is, and retrieve whatever we can to cripple the condemned.
I will reach out to our king and request the warrant and have Miss Rams and her young associates go to Corinth.
Hold the oxen cart. What?
I'll have to agree with Miss Rams on this one. Why send a steward under the crimes of...
Because Andras would suspect us all to go by the book as the council, and with 3 individuals who look nothing like the model stewards, it is easy for them to go undetected. And with Miss Rams, who she claims can't wield essence without her paintbrush, A squire who looks more like country boy without Teklar armor and warden lass that has yet to find her core. Would it be seen as farmer's daughter?
Is there a point to your insults, Hindrus? Or do you simply just love to hear yourself talk and waste the air around us?
It's so simple, yet so complex to you, dear Victoria. Hide in plain sight. And with all that needs to be done, your brush will be safe and secure while you and the charges see if you are worthy to hold it again.
You predecessor of a...
Lord Hindrus' idea is solid enough, and given the circumstances you are in, it'll prevent us and the other steward branches from losing more spies and wielders.
So my powers don't matter then?
It does. Hence why the brush is currently safe in the vault. As Hindrus stated, without it, Andras wouldn't suspect.
Wouldn't suspect a council sending a steward, defenseless without a magical brush to retrieve maker knows what. Sounds like a solid plan as a means to prevent me from fully be given...
There's more at stake than your needs, Miss Rams. This is only a draft, and we are not fully stabbing this plan until we receive consent from Corantha's council and king. You survived your last mission from what I recall. Surely you can manage another mission without it, and you'll have accountabilities to remind you of that. Am I understood?
Transparently.
Good. In the meantime, return to your chambers and rest. We will send a messenger when we receive the warrant and have a solid plan. You are all dismissed.
Yes, what? No, I'm not, Les. I just need a moment alone. Back to my ween. Lily Newcastle is there to keep me company according to Barnabas. You go and enjoy yourselves. I don't know. Go to the Turquoise Skull, which does have the best comfort food and drinks. Nah, lad. If I go in this state of mind, everyone will just be out of the prickly pear mead that they need. Besides, you two need a break from me. Anyways, good night, you two.
You must learn to turn men into more than just birds, Anya. We could be compromised at this point.
Not with the blood bane that was injected into him thanks to my beloved dart needles. Besides, adding the horse features along with the instincts you placed upon him quickens the poison's progress. Mother dearest would be so proud seeing that we're finally getting along and working together. Even if he somehow survives, he'll battle 3 instincts till the day he crosses.
You may think of yourself as very clever, sister, but the chances of him being discovered
are 50-50, but he will be crippled to such a degree that no one believed a scared and broken man. Just as they never believed me.
Regardless, we need to make sure that no one working the estate is even a snippet intelligent. Farm boys. Dumb ones. I don't care.
Hence why you've been asking about their education and turning away so many sharp-minded men?
The less the library is known, the better. Even if it's found, call it insurance for us.
Lass, what's the matter? We couldn't identify the Oz... What did you say? Bloodbane? How did you... Oh, never mind. I need to see if there's an antidote in the stores.
Hello. Hi, pretty lady. I heard the mention of Bloodbane, and I want to help. Yes. I'm the Jackalmire that wrecked the raccoon. Lord Roger's office. He's the librarian from what I... Yes, well, I heard that, the Bloodbane was on a man. The poison is a tree sap from my homeland. Since I have vampire traits, I can clean it out of his bloodstream if needed. Not really, but my body can, quick, take him to me. First hide. In that bag. But I won't fit. Okay. What is all this stuff? Is that a suit of armor? Interesting.
Saint God. Excuse me, miss. Have you seen the Jack Lamar running about? The squire told me that he saw it going through this direction. Well, if you do, please bring him back to the wing. He's yet to be released for the council's interrogation. Pardon my broken tongue. Thank you, miss.
Lass, what are you doing here?
Get back here, you! Hey! By that reminiscent of another lord's death.
Whatever you have in there, save it before Rogers gets his grip on it.
Maker.
Lord Rogers, how many times have I told you not to...
Madam, for once, this creature was not of my doing. Though it's nice to know that small organics can be in the bag and transported in between. I don't need a Jackalmire wrecking precious artifacts.
It was an accident.
Wait, did you say Jack Lemire? A creature that was supposedly created and emerged with others to clean or inject substances from the bloodstream. Mostly silver from supernaturals that get impacted by materials such as the vampires, werewolves, and others. The hair part of them chews the substances into cud. The rest, well, I'll leave to your own interpretation. Is it true that you want to help us?
Yes. Yes, it is. No catch. Well, other than I require sanctuary. And since you and your mate were so kind, was the young man that was with you not your mate? Sorry. I assumed, but I didn't want to be... I didn't want to be your familiar servant for sanction in exchange for my services.
Stewards aren't supposed to have familiars at this state of their... Well, who am I to argue with a chance to save a life? Do whatever you need to do with it, but if he brings an epidemic into these lands...
I'll bring it down myself when it comes to that. And just like that, the creature called Gigi approached Lamar's bedside. His breathing was shallow, as he slept with sweat coating his face. The Jack Lemire took a sniff around the bandaged wounds before taking the talon right hand and taking a full bite of it, causing Lamar to jolt awake and scream. Feathers molted and scattered off and from his bed and body as he attempted to remove the wing vermin creature, only to have the warden and Madame Robin pin him down. No! Don't! What he's feeling is exactly what the Jack Lemire is supposed to do. Sending a burning essence to eradicate poisons he missed in the blood. Just breathe, Lamar. Focus on the lass. Breathe.
Just let me cross. Please. I can't.
Just hang in there, lad. It'll all be over soon. Look at the warden, not your arm.
Please. Please. Don't leave me. Don't. Thank you. Thank you, lass. Your eyes, they are like dancing light.
He has some color back. As far as I'm concerned, that's the swiftest withdrawal I've ever seen.
Quick, I need a bucket.
No, wait, that's my bride. Biscuits tin. And thank the maker there was no cookies in there. Let's just... I'm taking you to the turquoise skull with me, lass. I'm gonna need a pint after today.
Rogers, you can't even keep a pint down.
After today, I certainly can.
Here.
Well, we should separate the contents of the poison, to the best of our abilities. Madame Robin can accompany me to analyze while Master Lupin rests.
Of course.
Please, stay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to see me in this state. I'm the kinsman of a council member. I'm supposed to be the reserve and strong, but I'm just tired and... Rest. I haven't heard that in a long time. But seeing something beautiful before such... Thank you for gifting it to me. Please play something as beautiful as you.
Lass? Oh good, you got him to sleep. Come on, let's just gently leave him be. Lass, he'll be okay. Let go of his hand. That was a very kind thing you did in there. The boy went through a lot of the void. Can't say the same for the little guy, though.
I'm feeling hungry yet still.
I hope the turquoise skull has something for you, son. And a last meal worthy of a librarian.